the power of entertainment to galvanize people around the world and stream into this television moment to highlight an issue that was going on in the world and then try to affect change, but doing it something around that was fun and it was entertaining, engaging around these extraordinary people and bringing them all around to one platform all at once was really moved us. The other thing that really, took our heart was like the MTV back in the day. We used to watch MTV and study it. So the MTV Video Music Awards, the Video Music Awards, the spring break parties, all this kind of stuff was just like, it felt like television was always going to fall over. It was just bold, It was crazy, it was nuts. So basically those were the two sort of inspirational moments. And we were like, we want to create big, bold things, whether it's campaigns, brands, or whatever it is, but build it around culture, build it around entertainment to affect change. That was just like our mission in life. That's what we wanted to do. And the moment for us came when we met, I don't know if you know this story, but we basically met a lady who lost her son to testicular cancer. I don't know if you know this story at all. So basically he developed a lump in his testicle at a young age. And unfortunately it took his life because he didn't say anything. We met her, she actually spoke in my school, and it wasn't the fact that her son died, even though a devastating thing to happen to such a young kid. It was actually the fact that if you catch it early, it's 100% curable. So technically, well, our thought process is every death from testicular cancer is absolutely needless. And if guys knew how to check and they weren't embarrassed and they spoke up if they found something, then they could basically, you could cure it as a cause of death. That was our kind of vision. And we were like, wow, this could be our movement to do our Live Aid, but for the sort of digital age, and bring all the craziness of like MTV and make it this really cultural moment to actually affect change. And that was the moment we were like, okay, finally we found our purpose. We've got a cause. And that's where we really discovered how relentless and how ambitious we really were. So to cut a very long story short, MTV, who we were inspired by, ended up writing about us, saying we almost broke the internet because of.
But what was this event you were putting on?
It was called Feeling Nuts.
Feeling Nuts.
Yeah, and it was it was a social movement, and it basically challenged people with, "Are you feeling nuts?" And what you had, we've always been very good at reading social media and understanding how through content you can connect with an audience, but extremely sort of timely, and that's where the momentum comes from, by the way, which we'll move on to in a bit.
Yes, what is your sort of sixth sense for reading social media?
I think it's really about like meeting people where they are.
What do you meet people where they are?
So the way that I see it is like, people see social media as like trends. We get into the spot where social media is before it becomes a trend. So therefore we sound different and refreshing to everything else. And that's what connects and that's what relates. I think we see, like we started building DIRTEA in a certain way and also feeling nuts in a certain way. And we started with a very like unique format. And then what you've actually seen is everyone's copied us. So like if I take Feeling Nuts, for example, our main thing was, it was a challenge. So you had YouTube and you had Vine, and they were the biggest social media platforms, and Instagram was just coming in, right? So this is 2014, right? So Instagram's just coming in. Twitter was actually quite big as well. But do you remember Vine?
Yeah, the short little videos, yeah.
It's how Logan Paul, that's how they built their brand, right?
Yeah.
So we basically, Are You Feeling Nuts was like, double entendre. Like it was two meanings, was like, how nuts are you going to go with this message, right? Because these YouTubers and these Viners are nuts. So how are you going to use comedy to get a message across about checking your nuts?
Right, yeah.
And the way in which you join the movement. So we got comedians creating content, like Stephen Fry basically taught you in a funny way how to check your balls. We turned Ant and Dec into a pair of testicles, like an animated pair of testicles to say how.
B-roll.
Yeah, we'll send it to you. It's very funny. But the way you join the movement is you grabbed your crotch and you said online, "I'm feeling nuts," right?
Yeah.
It's a hashtag I'm feeling nuts. And then you would challenge someone else with, "Are you feeling nuts?"
Yes.
And that created this like kind of chain gang where people were tagging each other. And tagging was brand new, by the way, at that point on Facebook and on Twitter. Tagging people in was, and obviously Vine as well. So we were like, that's how you create virality. And we referred to it as like a chain gang type of thing. And it's very specific strategy with the right message, with the right content that enable people to adopt it, own it, and spread it. That led to, 1 billion people got behind it, by the way. It was in 157 countries, the biggest stars in the world, from Hugh Jackman to Justin Bieber to Ed Sheeran, Rick and Gervais. It exploded and it went everywhere.
momentum was built because you had content creators and influencers in some capacity, but we went to go and meet these people on the basis of something for the greater and good, because they want, back then, it was social currency that kind of gave them popularity. But we went with them with a life-saving message that they could be the one that kind of activates and stimulates this disciple effect. It's something they feel proud about. And we did that in the early stages, and it did build a community, by the way. And back then it was very hard. How do you actually get these people into like one space?
Can I just jump in there?
Yeah.
I think just to sort of explain that the way we built Feeling Nuts, I'm saying we're always like updating the way in which we communicate through social media. We did in the beginning try that, and we were like, let's get influencers and content creators to go and talk about functional mushrooms, right? But actually what we realized is we actually wanted DIRTEA to be the creator. So rather than leveraging on other people's audience, we were like, let's go and build our own audience. And I think at the time, there was a lot more organic reach with Instagram. There was a lot more organic reach with TikTok. I think the important thing for us in the beginning was like, education is everything. Like when you learn about functional mushrooms and what they can do to your mind and your body, it's absolutely undeniable. I mean, every time we do a lot of events and pop-ups, every time we're there, and we do all of them ourselves, we have a DIRTEA truck that we drive all around the country. When we're there and we explain to people just the education, they're like, I need all of them. Like, I need those brain cells in my cup. Essentially, what we decided to do was like, let's make DIRTEA the creator. So in the beginning, what we would do is we would just make very short snippets and videos about like what is lion's mane or the history of fungi, or like Simon says, like we're more closely linked to fungi than we are to plants. We share up to 54% DNA. And we'd always have like quirky stuff at the end, like that makes you half a mushroom. And that stuff really traveled. And there was a point in time, which I probably say was about a year into building the brand, that every video we posted, we got over 1 million views. And the brand went absolutely viral. And what we realized is we don't need influencers. We don't need creators. We've obviously changed that strategy now. But back then it was like, let's just build the most amazing social media account. And we got it up to like on Instagram, nearly 400,000. I think we're probably one of the most followed wellness brands in the world now. So I think like the learnings we probably have from things like Feeling Nuts was like, you're driven by a cause, how to create virality, how to really tap into that sort of young generation, and how to work with the platform, the algorithm, how it is then. And I think with DIRTEA, it was different because we were like DIRTEA because it represents the mushroom. That's the hero. That's the star.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is. Don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel, and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.